This is Generation Stadia, giving you that daily dose of everything and anything Stadia related. And today, I just want to talk to you about all the press coverage that Stadia has gotten. So if you haven't noticed yet, there are a ton of reviews or reviews in progress for Stadia out there on YouTube right now. And for the most part, it's pretty mixed right now, and that's to be expected honestly. After all, everyone's experience with Google Stadia is going to be wildly different from one another as it's entirely based on your connection to Google's servers. And please don't misunderstand what I'm saying there. I'm not trying to make any excuses for Google or their downfalls with their service. In fact, we'll be talking about those in just a second. But I do think it's important to remind everyone that everyone's experience will be different. That's why some reviews are pretty positive while others are pretty damning. As for myself, definitely expect a review on Stadia, but only after I feel like I've had enough time with it. I'll certainly be doing a first impressions video, so stay tuned for that, but over the coming month, I really want to test out the stability of the service itself. Now, everything said, you'll still definitely have a ton of Stadia coverage on the channel, but I'll talk more about it in the end of video message. For now, let's get back to the topic at hand. So what can we take away from all the press coverage that we've heard about today? Well, let's start with the good, and so far it seems like the gameplay experience is pretty damn good. The overall consensus from all the reviews and press coverage that I've read seems to be that cloud gaming can work, and Google's proven it here. Now, is it on par with local hardware? No, absolutely not. Stadia still introduces some latency to the experience, but not enough to ruin it for most users. That being said, the key word here is most. If you plan on gaming on keyboard and mouse, you'll be much more susceptible to the experience due to the nature of that input method. Likewise, if you're the type of person who likes to play competitive games, you're probably better off sticking to local hardware. Now, that's not to say that you won't have a good time on Stadia, it's just that you might notice the latency a bit more. Either way, it seems like most impressions when it comes to latency have been overall very positive. So if the actual gameplay is being considered good, why are reviews so mixed? Well, to put it into simple terms, it's because we're buying into early access. Stadia is trying to become a gaming platform, and there's definitely expectations that are to be had there. And the truth is that Stadia just doesn't meet them yet. Things like family sharing and achievements are coming, but they're not here on launch. Not to mention, there are still plenty of restrictions when it comes to gaming on Stadia. For example, the controller needs to be wired to any other device outside of the Chromecast. Another example would be that you can't stream 4K games to your Chrome browser as of yet. In fact, that feature's not coming out till sometime in 2020. And let's not forget, if you want to game on your mobile device, well, I hope you have a Pixel phone because only the Pixel lineup is supported at launch. Now, I could keep going, but I'm sure you all get the picture. These things are coming at some point down the road, but they're just not here and they're not ready yet. And because of all this, I can't blame reviewers for giving Stadia a hard time. After all, Google presented this as the launch date of their brand new gaming platform. At this point, we've pretty much discussed the good and the bad from these reviews. Now, what's the ugly? That has to be the marketing. Frankly speaking, they overpromised and underdelivered. Back at GDC when they first revealed Stadia, things like Crowdplay, Stream Connect, and Stage Share made the platform sound super exciting. These features made Stadia stand out in a very unique way, but none of that is here at launch. Another thing we were told at GDC is that Stadia would support desktops, laptops, TV, tablets, and mobile phones at launch. Now, to be very fair to Google, they technically weren't lying here, but they didn't bother mentioning all the caveats that came with it. If you want to play on a tablet, then I hope you have a Chrome OS tablet. Likewise, if you want to play on your mobile phone, it better be a Pixel 2 or up. If not, then you're just going to be left waiting until that support gets added in. Now, the last big bullet point at GDC was 4K 60fps gaming. Now, I do need to point out that they always stated that it was up to 4K 60fps. That pretty much guaranteed that not every game was going to run at that resolution or frame rate. And as we found out today, Red Dead Redemption 2 runs at 1440p 30fps or 1080p 60fps. Now, I expected this to be the case, but it's pretty clear that a lot of people didn't. People saw the promise of 4K 60 and immediately thought it was going to apply to all games as long as you paid for Stadia Pro. Now, Red Dead Redemption didn't surprise me. On a technical level, it made sense for it not to be able to output in 4K 60. With that said, something that did catch me off guard is Destiny 2 running at 1080p with medium settings. Now we know for a fact that Google did have a team over at Bungie to help out with this port. So that left me scratching my head as to what's going on here, because at 1080p you should be able to run on max settings on a Vega 56 GPU. Not only that, but Destiny 2 shouldn't have any problem running at 1440p at 60 frames per second with high settings. Now back at GDC, Google showed us that huge image showing that Stadia had more teraflops than the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X combined. And yet, when it comes to Destiny 2, we're left with a game version that doesn't even match the visual fidelity of the One X counterpart. And that's pretty disappointing to say the least. So overall, where does that leave me? Well, I can't tell you that I'm not disappointed. The overall reception is pretty much what I expected. The service works, but it's not all there yet. And for some, that may be reason enough to cancel your pre-order and wait it out. As for myself, I'm still really excited to try out Google Stadia simply because I feel Google has overcome one of the hardest hurdles of them all, and that's proving that cloud streaming can work. Now that doesn't mean I'm gonna ignore the fact that they have a ton of ground that they need to make up before next gen launches, or that they have a ton of promises to fulfill. At the end of the day, only time will tell if Google manages to pull this off. At the end of the day, Stadia isn't a traditional platform like your PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. It's an ever-evolving service that's only going to get better over time, both software and hardware-wise. Either way, there's some very interesting times ahead. Do let me know how you feel about all this in the comments section below. I'm looking forward to reading your replies. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video or found it helpful at all, be sure to hit that like button as it really does help the channel out, and if you're wanting more content like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. For today's end of video message, I just want to give you a quick rundown on what type of content you can expect on this channel now that Stadia is about to launch. First off, the news and discussion videos are going nowhere. I'll still be covering all the latest and greatest in Stadia, as well as doing my own opinion topics. Now, in addition to that, I plan on doing video reviews for Stadia games, as well as live streams where I'm playing through the games I'm going to be reviewing. So if you ever see me starting a live stream, chances are I'm playing a Stadia game, so if you want to hop in and chat, or just want to ask me questions about the game, feel free to do so. Ideally, I also want to have community game nights, so if you aren't a part of the Discord community and that sounds like something you'd be interested in, be sure to join. Now the last thing is a bit of a reminder, and that's that GenerationStadia.com is now live, and I want to point out that all my video reviews will have a written format. Anyways, thanks for sticking to the channel, and thank you for all your continued support. I know that I haven't been uploading lately, but it's mainly been due to getting ready for this launch. So be sure to stay tuned to the channel because I'll be live streaming the moment I have access to Stadia. Anyways, this has been Generation Stadia, giving you that daily dose of everything and anything Stadia related. The Gen S community is over 2,500 strong and growing by the day, and until next time, I'll catch you in the clouds.